Merry Christmas! And welcome back to Robert's Reviews. Merry Christmas. I don't know if it's Christmas when you're watching this, but it is when it's coming out, which is really interesting, really cool. If you are watching this on Christmas, hope you guys are having a wonderful Christmas. Today we're going to be talking about a doozy. Today we're going to be talking about The Christmas Chronicles Part 2. The Christmas Chronicles Part 2 came out in 2020. That's right, it came out exactly a month ago from the release date of this review. It was written by Matt Lieberman, who wrote the first one, and it was written and directed as well by Chris Columbus, who is a godsend in filmmaking. So, for those of you who don't know what this movie's about, essentially what happens is we follow. It's set 2 years after the previous one, which is good because it came out 2 years after the previous one, which was set in 2018. So this one's set in 2020. Fun, interesting thing. There's no masks in the movie. I guess 2020 doesn't exist in the filmmaking world because they don't have to wear masks in the filmmaking world. So they decided to completely ignore the fact that the coronavirus existed, which I'm just now realizing now that I'm talking about it, is kind of crazy, right? Because what if the coronavirus isn't in movies? And then people are like, oh, we don't want to make a movie about coronavirus because it's scary. And it's like, yeah, but it's real, right? Like, there are movies about World War II. Why won't there be a movie about the coronavirus? Maybe I'll write a film about the coronavirus, and then maybe we'll film it, and we'll edit it, and we'll send it to film festivals. But yeah, it's 2020 in this movie, and essentially they're on a trip to Cancun. And, Kate and, what's his name? Hold up. Teddy and Kate's parents. Well, their dad's dead, but their mom, finds a dude, and they go to Cancun together. And so Kate becomes friends with Jack, and Jack is Kate's mother's boyfriend's son. So they are going to be step-siblings, probably. And I don't know why they decided to set this in Cancun. We could have just ignored that entirely and started off where we started off last time, but they didn't. They decided, oh, we're going to Cancun. Whatever. Fine. God damn it. And essentially what happens is Kate feels left out because her mom is spending so much time with her new boyfriend, and so she wishes that she can leave the area. Little does she know that Bellnickel, which is not pronounced Bellnickel in this movie like it should be, it's pronounced Bellnickel. Bellnickel hears, and he's like, right, because Bellnickel used to be an elf, and then he turned into a human because he was a bad elf, and he's like, I know how I can get into Santa's, place, blah, blah. So he throws Kate and Jack into a portal and brings them to the, outside of Santa's workshop, and then Santa's flying around trying to kill this cat, and then he sees them and brings them back into Santa Village. And we meet Mrs. Claus, and they realize that Bellnickel is there, and Bellnickel steals the Christmas star. And eventually the Christmas star is destroyed. And in this movie, the Christmas star is taken from the Star of Bethlehem. And it sucks the star power into this container, and then it can keep the Santa Village safe with all the elves. And so this movie is about Jack and Kate and Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus working together to try to get a new star and keep Bellnickel from taking it, and eventually, hopefully, fixing Bellnickel's attitude towards Christmas. So, first I want to talk about the acting, then I'll give you my thoughts. This movie did come out a month ago, so it's understandable you haven't seen it yet. But if you're interested in it, it's okay. You do have to watch the first one to understand what's going on in the second one. And they're both on Netflix. And their combined runtime is almost 4 hours combined. Which isn't too bad if you consider the fact that one movie can be 3 hours nowadays and be totally okay. Which is ridiculous. First of all, Kurt Russell as Santa Claus, like I discussed yesterday, fantastic job. There's no way he couldn't do anything he wanted to. Kurt Russell's fantastic. He's a great Santa Claus. he will be remembered as Santa Claus. That is for sure. There's almost no way he won't. It's fantastic. He's funny. I enjoyed watching him as Santa Claus once more. Hopefully, we get another one with a better adaptation and a better sequel. Goldie Hawn as Mrs. Claus, whom, if you didn't know, is in a relationship with Kurt Russell. They've been dating for like 30-something years, 40-something years. Been dating for a long time. They're not married, though, which is kind of interesting. But anyway, she plays Mrs. Claus. Mrs. Claus is interesting. She's very similar to like the whole like, oh, I'll bake cookies, whoa, 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 kind of Mrs. Claus you would expect. Which is unfortunate because Santa Claus is not who you would expect Santa Claus to be in these movies. He's more of a funny, hip Santa Claus than anything else. And this, I feel like we should have had more of a funny, hip Mrs. Claus, whereas Mrs. Claus was more of the same old, like kind of a grandma kind of feel for a Santa Claus, for a Mrs. Claus. And she can bake cookies that can explode, so that's interesting. And then she's also kind of a doctor where she can like heal people. It's interesting. Darby Camp as Kate, once again, fantastic job. Even better performance in this film than the first one. Really, I think that she could make it big in this industry, and I look forward to seeing what she'll do next. Julian Dennison as Bellnickel, who... It's still not Bellnickel. That's unbelievable. They said Bellnickel, but whatever. If you don't recognize him right away, he was the like villain guy in Deadpool 2, which is where I knew him from. But for a while, I couldn't figure it out. And then, as I was researching pictures to put into the editing process, I was like, I know him from somewhere. So I googled it. He is in Deadpool 2. He is the main villain. That's where I knew him from. He did okay in this movie. I honestly kind of thought it was a step back from Deadpool 2. I thought he did even better in Deadpool 2 than this one. I can't put my finger on to why I didn't really like the performance, but I really just didn't quite enjoy the performance as much as I thought I was going to. I looked at him and I was like, he might actually be really good in this, and he really just kind of wasn't. It's unfortunate. It really is, because you need a good bad guy for a good movie. And he just wasn't a very good bad guy. He was bad at everything he did, and he made Santa... He basically just handed Santa an advantage in everything he did. It really was quite unfortunate. And we have Jazier Bruno as Jack, who is the son of Kate's mother's boyfriend. Not very good. If I'm going to be totally honest with you, I did not like the performance of Jack at all. It felt super childish, which he is a child, sure, but still... It felt like he was very much so playing to children. I didn't like any of the lines written for him. I honestly just didn't like the character at all. He's not a very interesting character. He's not very well rounded. It really is kind of a bother, which is really annoying because what makes me really upset is we didn't get to see Teddy in this film almost at all. He's in the beginning and the end barely. And instead they're like, you know what? Let's just make Jack into the brother. And it was not good. I don't know why they didn't decide to have Teddy be with them. They could have just as easily been like, oh, Teddy's going to spy on Kate, get on the sleigh, and then end up in Santa's village as well. That would have made my life so much easier. I wouldn't have had to learn a new character. We could have had a whole other arc for the brother. I just don't understand why we had to go out and make a whole other character based on things we don't even need, right? Like, we don't need a secondary main character. Like, if you're not going to have the brother on there, fine, okay? Okay, fine. That's a decision you're welcome to make. But why do we need Kate to have another person? I'm okay if it's just going to be Santa Claus, Mrs. Claus, and Kate. Jack does a lot in the film that, honestly, the brother could have just done better. It really felt childish. The whole movie kind of felt childish. The first movie, at least, kind of felt like it could be a young adult film. Not this one. This one's very childish. There's a lot more elves, and they're all animated, and it really just kind of felt childish to me. This is a movie that I would definitely show to, like, a baby or an infant or a young child. But unfortunately, this just isn't my demographic. It's not for me. It's definitely more of a child movie than anything else, which is really unfortunate because this has the opportunity to be a classic, and it has an opportunity to be a family movie, and they just kind of ruined it for me with all the animation, and honestly the childish acting by some of the actors just kind of made me feel like it wasn't a very good movie. It was okay. The plot's like fine. We've seen the plot before many times where like they steal the important Christmas thing, but whatever. I just think we could have seen a more strategized organization of how the film should be seen, right? Like Chris Columbus did Home Alone, and that was great. It's a movie that focuses on children, but makes it a family movie, right? Like, I'm sure many families watch Home Alone every Christmas, but this one really feels like a child movie, and it's quite unfortunate because it could be on the shelves of a Christmas classic. They were so close with these two movies. Honestly, I don't know if I really want a third one, but if there was a third one, I'd probably watch it, and like probably not hate it. I think that we really just, they could focus on making it a family movie more than a kids movie, and it would have been better. With that, I'm going to give this movie a B-, which I think is the lowest grade I've given a Christmas movie? That can't be possible. I've had worse movies, right? There have been worse movies, right? Right? Oh my gosh, I don't think there has been. Wow. Wowie, 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 wowie. Well, there you have it. If you're interested in what the lowest rated movie is for me on Christmas, it's A Christmas Chronicles 2. Which I think is fair because the rest of them were mostly family movies, and I think a Christmas movie should be a family movie because it's Christmas, so you're most likely going to be watching them with your family. With that, I'm going to cut it and hopefully not talk too much longer because it is Christmas and I want you guys to spend time with your family. I hope you all have a wonderful Merry Christmas. Tomorrow I will be releasing a Robert's Thoughts video on my first semester of college. I'm really excited to film it. It's probably going to be kind of long, but I hope you all stick around and watch it because it really is going to be interesting to get my thoughts on how it went and how the coronavirus has really affected it and all the interesting knowledge that I've learned. I'm not going to share everything because it's going to be a lot, but I'll tell you what classes I thought were helpful, what classes I thought weren't helpful, and just general things that I think are important for a first semester of college. So as always, keep watching films and television, stay educated, and I'll see you guys in the next video.